I'd like to thank to the organizing team for giving us this opportunity, and also I'd like to thank all the sponsors and to you as well for being here. And also I'd like to thank the Çolakoğlu Metalurji team. Uh, while um, I have seen many partners here, many participants here. Well, I just have a wish from my colleagues from my company. We are just sharing the same video for the 3 consecutive years. Maybe we can change this video for the next year. I'd like to thank to the team of organization. I'd like to thank to Murat Yilmaz. I'd like to thank to all SteelOrbis team. Well, as you may know, the most important issue in our world is sustainability. So the last 2 years, tested us, in that regard. When we are to look at the sector, we have seen maybe some countless difficulties, and the year was concluded with success. Some firms actually showed a good performance, some of them not. But Turkish steel sector, aside of China, all the countries actually just narrowed down and just lost maybe the year with loss. However, Turkey managed to survive and complete the year, actually close the year with success. I would say that we benefited somehow all the opportunities of the year, and we even will grow more. So what is coming next? I think that we have to ask this question. Unexpected changes. Yes, there are some actually things that are going on, but can we just be as successful as before? Well, I think that Turkish people are quite experienced about crisis, economic problems. In the last 2 or 3 years, we see this war of the steel, and we have been the victim of that. And since 2018, also we battle with the local economic crisis. And on one side there was America, and on the other side there was the EU. And Turkey has been unfortunately the only victim country. And 3 weeks ago, just we have seen that agreement in between the EU and America, and the EU's export to America was exempted from the 32% taxes. So America's total steel import, while 80% of it is actually not subjected to the tax. So I would say that the only victim of this agreement became Turkey. So they just created some protection towards Turkey without any excuses, without any causes. And Turkey was pictured as a target. And Turkey has been the commercial partner of the last 25 years of America. So 70 years of actually alliance and 25 years of commercial partnership mean nothing to the USA. This is what we understand. Well, when it comes to the interest of each country, we understand the rules of the game can change, because in the last 30 years, the people who think that globalization is good, now they are just changing their idea. Some other countries, they should manufacture cheap, and it should be a benefit to me. Such an approach is being abundant right now, and even cheap actually production does not mean a lot. I believe what is important from now on is just being self-sufficient as countries, and actually minimizing the dependency to the foreign countries. In the last 2 to 3 years, European and American steel producers, they just give the same name to the imported steel. dumping, still with dumping, or the still with the incentives. So that was the discourse, and it has created actually a perception on the management, and it became really successful because American Trade Ministry or European Commission that we used to trust to their justice just because of the political pressure, just to protect their own industries. Actually, they took some sided decisions. They took sides. I don't know if you think the contrary, but this is actually the clear situation, and I don't think that it will change in the foreseeable future. Well, my last travel was in the February of 2020 before pandemic, and after the pandemic, well, I did it 2 weeks ago. I just participated to a conference in the USA. Peter Marcus, the late Peter, worked in this actually conference for 60 years. He really insisted, and in our last phone call, he invited me. But anyways, when I was there in 2 days, I heard from no one the word of the still with dumping or the still with incentives. In an environment that the steel is sold with 100% of a profit, of course, this approach does not have any causes. They have changed its name. So the name has changed. The name of the imported steel is now called polluted steel. So for 2 days, people participating to that conference discussed whose steel is clean, whose steel is dirty, and what they have as a consensus that the steel was dirty. And last year, I participated, also connected to an online conference, and it was the November of 2020, and also a free trade agreement was signed back then. And today, we just look in the USA and also in the EU, while they just negotiate on an agreement that is related to steel, that was the transatlantic actually free trade agreement negotiation. And I understand that there is a new now order, world order, a new play game is being created. And where are we? Where are we be positioning? Do you know anything about this? Where should Turkey be? Well, it looks like we are out of this order. We have no position or place in this new world order. Protection issue, as you may know, is valid only for a certain period of time. Well, neither the EU or the USA actually were bothered with this, but they also know that it cannot be for forever. It cannot be for forever. After the last extension, they did not show, or we did not show any action, but this extension actually gives us a right. So today, without even offering actually an excuse, we can declare prevention against the USA. And I think that they are aware of this. That's why they would like to change their play game, and even they are preparing an infrastructure for that. So the issue will be switched from the trade side to the technical side. So that's why they have discarded this new term, and the import will be now named as the dirty steel. Why our steel would be dirty? Well, this is not the case. I'm sure Muammer is going to make a really detailed presentation about it, because by using exactly the same equipment, by using exactly the same raw crude material, we produce the same steel. But it does not matter for them. This is like an operation of perception. They've started it, and probably it will bring some outcomes. Especially recently, we hear actually some actions and discussions about preventing the export of crude, and also the scrap. For the short maybe period, it might be for our advantage. However, in the long term, I don't expect any advantage of that. according to my experience, for 3 rounds, American steel industry almost went into bankruptcy. I witnessed to that, and in the EU, just to protect their actual position, while the EU also wanted to just get together, and they banned us. They banned the incentives for Turkey, but they give these incentives to other countries. Well, I think that these days are now like quite behind. It looks like they just are now in a better level and a position, and the American steel sector. Well, they have created probably 40 or 50 million dollars of extra. So this is like an additional $1,000. There is also a price difference in between the flat and the long. So Europe has a different actually way of gain, and we can see it from the results. Just because of the newly created source, I think that new steps should be taken, and it is easier like that. As you may know, Europe and America have created emissions. So, yes, they can feel the pressure. And specifically to the steel sector, the most practical way of, I think, descending emission is production for a scrap. Raw material advantage is what they have. So comparing to the other geographies, yes, the EU is more advantageous in terms of its geographical position, and of course they will use this advantage. So since 2008, they have been buying, and the control of the market is now totally in the hand of the American, actually, steel producers. Well, another important thing, energy issue. Well, energy, when we think of the production ratio of the sector, well, it seems like we have the advantage. However, it is a total disadvantage. So in Europe, electricity prices comparatively high. However, renewable energy opportunities, when we think of it, kilowatt per hour emission average. Well, now we are actually over America, Europe. Just look at America. Well, they are lower than the world average. So that's why, in terms of steel investment in the coming years, the most attractive areas are going to be these areas. So in America, it has been declared, and probably it's going to be initiated to 10 to 12 millions of investment for scrap. And in Europe, there are some big players, and they are now taking some steps to invest in scrap. So as a result, what should we do? Well, first of all, we need to look for alternative raw material sources. We need to take some certain solid steps so that we can create solutions for the future, and also related to energy, we have to look for solutions because we have new capacities, and we have a serious actually competition. I'd not expect anything aggressive from China. My expectation is that while restructuring their sector, probably they are going to use new instruments, merging, and creating some mega companies. Yes, they have already started doing so. and I do not expect that there will be actually a sharp increase in China. Well, the scrap that is produced in China, what's going to happen to it? Would China be the exporter of scrap? But now, in the day, in their production ratio is targeted to reach to 20 to 25%. So, as a result, last year we organized a conference and we shared our estimations for 2021. And I said that I expect it to be positive. And even I had said that probably it would have been similar to 2018, and my expectation was satisfied. So, this is probably the best year. Cheap money, and also the attempt for growing. And after vaccination, the switch to the normalization and all the delayed actual demand emerged again, and all these things actually reached make the steel prices reach to the highest position. So our expectation for 2022 is similar in terms of demand. Well, about inflation, yes, there are some concerns. However, I believe that the tendency of growing would be similar. As you may know, in America, a package was approved in the Senate, and on the other hand, China as well has declared another incentive package. So all these things actually would reflect to growth and the demand. So probably this cheap money policy will continue for a while. So in between 2020 to 2021, the most important difference is that next year, the margins will be different of this year. So all we talk, such as crude and other material costs and energy costs, well, they will increase the production costs. And when we are to look at the production level, we cannot really see the pre actually dates. So we know that there are actually good sites. Yes, the demand will be actually defined according to the demand of the sector. So since the beginning of the year, so when we think of the cost of the inputs, and it is actually impact on the production input. And by the way, ArcelorMittal 1 year and a half ago just circulated a 50 million euro, and I think that it is beyond that. In my first 20 years in the sector, steel was around 300 actually dollars, and then it actually increased it to the 400 to 500. And in the beginning of this year, actually, we also have seen its impact again, and I believe that it will reach out to 800 to 900 because of the inflation and also the cost of the raw material. And of course, we can see some maybe lower prices, but what I'm talking is just average prices. Well, now let me talk about a little bit of my own company. Well, it's Çolakoğlu. It has been a great year as well for us. I am being frank on that. So we are optimistic about future. 2 years ago, I was as well on the stage, and I was talking about stainless steel. And we have enrolled as well 300 tons of steel. And we also produce and manufacture stainless steel, and we are about to make a campaign very soon. However, our plan in the middle term is that the existing raw material of Turkey, by thinking of the value of Turkey, is just giving the service again to the country, because we would like to be self-sufficient and self-manageable. And another thing is that in the automobile sector, we would like to produce IFS steel. Well, we produce a small amount, but we might increase the production because we have already tested the products. So, the next quality target. is just having a better resistance. Hard rocks is the actually level that we are looking for. This is what we're aiming for, and 2023 is planned for that production. So what are we working for? Today we are actually in top of 15. We are ranked as the 13th biggest actually producer. And also we would like to preserve this position of the most liked steel company. However, our most important mission is as such people of our company, our staff, our employees. We would like to put them in the center, and as well would like to obey all environmental responsibilities and offer the need of our customers with the best price and supply it actually in a sustainable manner. This is what we are looking for. We are really concerned about producing green steel, clean steel. We are working for that. But beyond that, we have a new actually term which is called responsible steel. Yes, this is what we are aiming for. We are just looking for this. Thank you.
Çok teşekkürler Uğur Bey.
Thank you so very much, Mr. Uğur. Well, we've got questions, I guess. First of all, let's receive the questions from the hall. No, there are no questions. I have got a question. Well, Hüseyin Soykan asks, this year many United States steel manufacturing, when it comes to collecting and handling, they have bought many companies and such. So what is it's going to be its impact on deep sea? Well, not this year actually. Since 2008, this is an ongoing process. DJ Joseph was bought by Nucorn for 1.6 and Cytodynamics 1.2. Omni Research was actually purchased, and this is ever growing. And we also see that Cleve's US Steel, they've also done the same, because this is normal in this plant order. Scrap is the most important and strategic raw material. In the United States, a new term was found for this, which is called the next precious metal. Of course, balances will settle down. Well, as I have mentioned, first of all, we will have a really major competition. So when it comes to creating that alternative resource or else that raw material, we have to decide on that. Previously, there was cheap gas or else cheap ore. That was a necessity previously, but looking at the current figures, we see that this has to be evaluated differently. That is what the conditions show. Well, the scrap generation is increasing across the world. Yes, it will. As the prices increase, scrap collection will also increase. In 2008, they used to buy scrap for $700, for instance. In the past, states were like junkyard, but they are now like graveyards, because there is no scrap left at all. Because the scrap reserve across the world is much higher than what is being traded today or as consumed today. So as the price increases, the economy, scrap collection will increase, but that is to do with cost, of course, and that cost is going to hit us eventually. Yes, and they're going to be alienating us, excluding us. Yes, that is what it seems, because the European community, for instance, and they do not even consider, take into account the World Trade Organization. I mean, there shouldn't be any hindrance in the scrap trade, but now they're trying to find an excuse for that, and discussions have started heating up. Whence can we have the mic? Well, thank you, Bahadur Tonguç. Well, Mr. Uğur, first of all, thank you very much for your fantastic presentation and for contributing to this organization. I've got a question on logistics. 232 anti-dumping, United States, Europe. So you said next year, would the exports be shifting to different markets, and what that scale be like, and should we take a position in that respect, like maritime, in terms of maritime freight? Would we see different routes, different markets in exports? Thank you. Well, Turkey has accessed almost all markets in that 35-year journey. In some markets, we are strengthening because China is no longer as aggressive as it used to be. It is more tranquil now. However, the production level that we achieved and the performance that we have achieved this year, we may have difficulty in achieving the following years, because in terms of self-sufficiency, markets have lived up to a certain saturation. In the United States and also in Europe, that protection measures could lax a bit in the upcoming year, because there was a certain period to that. Because if you extend the measures for quite some time, then it would have different kind of negative implications. But this year's performance could be the maximum level, according to me. In terms of market, I don't expect a huge change, to tell you the truth, but I hope that there could be a change in freight prices. I mean, $30 United States was 90, has become $90. I mean, okay. So, would there be an increase in the quotas, or else that 3-year period, could they make it earlier? Well, of course, there is no point in that now. 80% is free now. On the other hand, they are discussing with the Japanese and they're discussing with the UK. There is only Turkey left. So China has got a dumping anyways. So if that measure is used in a fair manner, it prevents unfair competition. This thing that we experience had not much to do with unfair competition. I mean, there are two sectors which are really being challenged in the United States and in Europe, and they had difficult times in the last 20 years, and they have difficulty in standing on their own 2 feet. They need a new resource, and because they know this business, nobody could even question, dispute. So that this resource has provided them an opportunity. So in the upcoming period, their era will start, according to me. Our biggest shortcoming is that we are never able to do such long-term planning. Yes, but there are also misfortunes as well. I mean, this country, in terms of resource, is not a rich country. Okay, thank you. Again, there is this online question, I guess. In 2023, you are planning to switch to high strength steel production. What's your forecast like? And what kind of measures are you going to, is the country going to take against the EU, according to you? Is there going to be a retaliation? Well, in terms of quantity, by the way, there is this thing that we will kickstart this year, which we call, adequacy, in order to contribute to the adequacy of our capacity. from 3 million ton, we have started our investment in order to increase it to 4.5 million ton, which we are going to be making it operational next year, so that we are no longer inadequate. That is a step that we have taken on our side, at least. So 2023, I hope that this topic will no longer be debated. Since the very beginning, actually, we have supported that, because 2 years ago we had also uttered, I mean, we are a country of 85 million. And if you do something, if they do something, then we have to retaliate, of course, because we make this pledge in 1997, and we have fulfilled all obligations based on that agreement. And for 20 years, they have made a profit. And whenever we started to benefit a bit, they actually now decide that they want to give up. But for 3 years, we just kept silent. We accepted this as if us speaking would be negative. But no, actually, we made a loss for those 3 years. I think that it's now a bit late, but there is this cost, a damage Europeans exported into our country. And the damage is done. So authorities should evaluate that. If we are unfair, yes, we are. But if we are fair, we want to enjoy our right, of course. Thank you. Any questions? There are actually plenty of viewers, hundreds online. No, I just wanted to use time wisely. That's why we've got time. Yes, we've got 5 more minutes. Berat Köprülü has 2 questions. Will we see aggressive movements from China? Would their protectionism policies on scrap impact our steel production? Another question is, in terms of market, in the European Green Deal could create a deviation in trade. What are your thoughts? And what are your expectations in complying with the Green Deal? What was the first question? China, yes. Okay, now I remembered. Okay. Well, I have actually explained that I do no longer expect an aggressive action movement. In 2014 and 15, they did that mistake and they paid the cost for it. And ever since, they have been taking the necessary steps. And I no longer actually expect an aggressive action from China. They are in a new change period, which they will actually do so because the authority there is really sound and has got the capacity to implement the decisions taken. In terms of the Green Deal, I would like to give the floor to Muammer because he would explain in full detail the process there. But I have mentioned about carbon taxes, the expectations and emission. So this 2-year period actually clearly shows how concrete this topic has become, how debatable it is. I'm sure that the discussions will accelerate. So actions to be taken should be taken. The whole legislation, the whole order should be set up. If a trade system is to be established, it has to be done swiftly so that we adapt ourselves to the new orders, because our sectors, one of our most important advantage is that the changing conditions, we're able to keep a step with it and comply with the changing conditions in a fastest manner. We have to show the same performance on this topic as well. Okay, another online question from Cromtel Company. Mehmet Avşar asks, I know that you are going to be investing in non-steel steel production. Will your other investments also focus on non-rust stainless steel? Well, yes, of course, we depend on our means, Actually, our facility was designed on manufacturing carbon steel. We are totally different from the stainless steel manufacturing facilities. However, I would like to thank the ones who have actually undertaken this project. It was an important step on our side, and we are determined to continue with this project of ours. As long as we have this motivation to change our facility setup, we can do anything and everything, I'm sure. And being self-sufficient, being independent is really important, and we would fulfill whatever it requires to be self-sufficient. One final question, and then we'll break out. Uğur Soybaş asks, Turkey, United States, and European Union. No, Turkey, why doesn't it apply quota on European Union and United States? Well, I cannot answer that question because I actually was supporting Turkey levying a quota against those countries. Well, there is no point in actually applying a quota now. I mean, of course, retaliation is something different, but what we did was that there is this unfair competition, and we kind of presented the evidences of that unfair trade, and we are wanted this to be concluded, finalized, and take the necessary actions if they definitely detect that there is an unfair competition practice going on. Okay, thank you so very much. This was all from us for this session. I thank you indeed.